So, moving forward, we have a Four of Wands. A Five of Wands, I'm sorry. This is a Two of Swords. An Ace of Swords. I have Karma. Death. A Knight of Cups. Two of Pentacles. Nine of Cups. This has been a very popular card as well. In previous readings. And then we have the Lovers reversed. Interesting. You also have some interesting major arcana cards. I think I'll address that first. Yeah. Karma. Judgment Day. Things, destiny, meeting your destiny, making an important decision that will affect the rest of your life, or an important event that will come along and change the rest of your life. And then it's interesting that after karma comes death. So this is a very strong pair here that you have that's going on in your present moment. You're definitely going through a big change. It's not as massive as it would be if there were more major arcana cards, but it seems like this is the type of change where it's going to affect you and how you're interacting with your life in the future and how this relationship is playing out. And so this third major arcana card, you have Lovers in reverse. A connection is lost here. And that is interesting, especially with these cups. You have a Knight of Cups. Someone who is, the direction the Knight of Cups is going is away from the reading. Okay. The Knight is going outside of this space here. Someone is leaving. Or going in a new direction. And then I have that Nine of Cups. This is usually the card of happiness and contentment, but it can also be the card of selfishness as well, a little bit. It's not reversed. But this Knight of Cups, this Knight seems to be very representing someone who's very focused on their happiness and what they're getting out of things. So those are some of the strands and threads that I'm picking up from these cards. When we get here to your past influences, a lot of turmoil and conflict going on. Because Five of Wands, that's all about conflict, different agendas, not being able to agree, which is also reinforced by that Two of Swords. And so we have an Ace of Swords here coming along. We're looking for clarity and truth. And it almost feels as if in order to get clarity with the Ace of Swords, here in the Two of Swords, someone has to drop a sword, right? Because this is the card of indecision. It's between two forces that are not connected. And it doesn't even have to be between two people. It can be a disconnect between your head and your heart as well. So let's say that someone drops a sword. They make a decision. So that brings us to this Ace of Swords. And so here in the past influences, I see disagreements and not being able to, this Two of Swords is signaling that there's been a lot of arguing, a lot of conflict, and then finally someone makes that decision. Okay. And I have a feeling that whatever this decision was with the Ace of Swords, it put into motion that karma. And I think that's why some of you are having a really difficult time now. Because now we have karma And then death, which brings things to a complete end. You know, it's almost as if this karma just put everything in a blender and mixed up your life. And then you're dealing with this death now where everything is completely changed and you don't know what's going to happen next. And so when I see this Knight of Cups, I see this Knight of Cups going away from this complete transformation. Even in some cases, a huge breakup or a huge change that this Knight is writing off. This Knight of Cups is taking his cup and taking a new direction. Or in a way, not necessarily, if it's not even leaving, it's someone emotionally going through changes. Okay? They're not in love anymore. Their feelings have changed. And so that's when we get here to this future here, because now I see a Two of Pentacles. Pentacles are about real life, your reality. It's about trying to find balance. And you see the infinity sign here, because we're latching on to this infinite power here to juggle, to keep balance in our lives, to keep balance in the universe. And when I get this in a relationship reading, I also get a sense that someone is juggling two relationships. They're not completely committed. They're keeping their eyes on two things, not one. Okay? And so maybe that's why this Knight of Cups is so happy. This Knight of Cups prefers things that way. But I also see that this Knight of Cups, I get a feeling this Knight of Cups, this Two of Pentacles is what's going on with the Knight of Cups, juggling two relationships. And then I see after the Nine of Cups, which is the card of happiness and contentment, you get everything you want. But I also see this big disconnect with the Lovers. The Lovers is reversed. And because of the lack of commitment, we also have the lack of commitment is sort of hurting the relationship. Okay? So I'm kind of getting the feeling of big fallout, that maybe there was a breakup, or maybe someone says, well, I'm not ready to be serious yet. Can we just keep it casual? Or even in an extreme situation, for some of you Leos, someone might have said, well, I would like to start dating someone else, or let's just be friends, or let's just be friends with benefits. Okay? Keep in mind that the Lover's card is not necessarily the card of marriage and commitment. The Lover's card speaks to that energy where it's sort of like this eros. The Greeks had a word for it. It's where this huge infatuation and physical attraction pulls you into someone. As far as sexual energy and this attraction, and you feel like this person's your soulmate. But it can be a fleeting energy. It doesn't mean that the relationship will last forever. And when it's reversed, it can mean that, yes, there are relationship issues in general, but this Lover's card can mean two people who are complete opposite, who are attracted to each other for the wrong reasons, and they can't leave each other, but they can't be together, with or without you. That's what I'm thinking here. A very complicated situation. But the thing is, what I'm seeing here is that the tarot is saying that whatever is happening with this relationship, it would probably need to come to an end, or someone ended it, but there's still some lingering feelings. There's still no complete closure. And maybe this is on the Knight of Cups terms. This person is happy with the way things are, and maybe they're not necessarily in a rush to change it. So I get a sense for some of you Leos that someone really left you hanging here, that this death card in the middle here, some of you might be waiting for a relationship to get back on track. Maybe some of you have gone through a breakup, but I think the oracle is also warning you that whenever we hang on to things, whenever there are big changes and it's difficult to accept that change, it only ends up making us more miserable. And it seems like the tarot is telling me more about what's going on with this other person than just necessarily you. That this person, someone made a big decision about the relationship that was sort of devastating, and is now creating this big emotional upheaval for you. And so the fallout in the future, if your question is, well, what's going to happen? I got to tell you, it doesn't seem like things will sync up anytime soon, because here in the past, I'm already seeing this ongoing conflict that seems to have caused a lot of trouble in the relationship before, and that it was only a matter of time before you headed into this. Now, this might not be applying to you directly. It could definitely be about an issue that is indirectly related to you. But nevertheless, there are some big changes. There's some karma going on that will eventually change things for good, and you can't necessarily go back. And so I'm going to pull this outcome card to see what's going on here. Now we have a Six of Pentacles. And the Six of Pentacles is a card of generosity. And it's a card of giving and taking. Sometimes in a financial reading, the Six of Pentacles is about getting a loan. But in a relationship, it's definitely about someone being generous, giving something, getting a gift. Okay? And the other thing I want to say about the Six of Pentacles in relationship is that Pentacles are strictly in the physical material realm. So whatever's going on in this relationship, it could be what I kind of felt out earlier, friends with benefits, being with someone, you get to be with someone, but you're not necessarily serious. That's one interpretation. I'm looking at this Two of Pentacles here, and I'm getting a sense that whatever it is that you want from this person in a relationship, that what they're only able to give you is something physical, nothing emotional, nothing that's long term. And so a big ending. And maybe some of you are like, will we get back together? Will the relationship be the same? But I get the sense that the intentions of the other person are, this is what I want. I don't want anything serious. I might string you along. This person actually might lead you on a little bit. But in the end, you might actually get to reconnect with this person. But I'm not necessarily seeing a strong commitment. The Six of Pentacles, yeah, there's a gift. There's someone who's going to give to you, or maybe you're the one giving. But I would be very careful here, because you might end up being the one taken advantage of and giving, and the other person won't be taking. But whenever I look at that Six of Pentacles and I see that in a relationship reading, I'm seeing someone being very generous and giving. And usually it's someone who wants to have the relationship, but the other person, they're just the ones who are taking, and they're not necessarily giving anything back. So for some of you Leos, be careful. Don't get pulled into that physical relationship without a commitment. And if your relationship did end and you're waiting around and you just want to see if it can work one more time, I think it's only fair to let you know you need to be careful, because it might not end up being the relationship that it used to be. It feels like things can never really go back after what's happening, after these changes here with karma and death. Okay, so that was my reading. And there's a video in the playlist that's promoting a new reading. It's a phone reading for 60 minutes. It is my Grand Tarot Romany spread, and it's a very extensive reading. Goes into a lot of details. It's very thorough about your past, your future, in all aspects of your life. And it's only available for limited hours. My hours are still limited, but check it out. And this is a phone reading only. Okay. So thank you so much, Leo. And once again, I hope you had a wonderful month of August. And I'll see you on YouTube. And thank you so much for your support. I wish you love and light, and take care of yourself.